Yep, okay, it's recording. Excellent! Hey, this is Robert Pearson, and this is Follow the Leader. And I'm just playing around with doing a morning musing, because they keep moving me from job site to job site, and it is becoming increasingly difficult to find a consistent time to record. Also, it's summertime, and my van has no AC, so my phone overheats immediately. It's a little frustrating. But hopefully recording in the mornings and stuff will help sort things out a little bit. Yeah. Whoa, dude. Watch out for that bicyclist. Anyway, recording and driving is always interesting. So, morning musings. I had an epiphany, and the goal is just to, as I drive to work for about 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the day, share a little aha moment I had fairly recently with y'all. Just to be in the habit of putting something on the internet. I'm going to get back to the blue-collar Bible scholar stuff. It's a chore. I'm on Romans and Ruth as far as recording. I forget what I have posted last. I've got Ruth recorded, I haven't posted it, and then I've got Romans. Every time I sit down, I'll get through the first half of it, and then the phone overheats and corrupts the video file or something. It's exciting. It's awesome. Technical difficulties we shall overcome. So, that's what I've got today. Today is morning musings, and here's a little tidbit, aha moment, I literally just had as I was leaving the house. So, kindergarten, right? We all know, oh, that's the first thing you do at school, right? Kindergarten. So, kindergarten is a German word. It's, kinder is the word for children. That's why they call them kinder eggs. They're eggs for children. So, kindergarten, Garten, right, is the German word for, you'll never guess this, garden. Because German and English are really close, and what do they call a machine gun? Machine pistolen? Oh, okay. Machine pistol, right? They call a submarine Unterseeboot, an undersea boat. If you see it spelled out, if you see it written out, it's almost identical. So, a kindergarten is a child garden, a garden for children. I think it's interesting that the beast has co-opted that word to refer to where you go send your child out of your safe home to be raised by unfeeling bureaucrats for 8 hours a day. They call that a garden for children, as the child leaves your home, because your home is the real child garden. No matter what age they are, your home should always be a kindergarten. It is a garden for children, a walled, safe place where they can grow and bloom. And that hit me today. That no, my home is a kindergarten. My home is a garden for my children. Not the state indoctrination camps. So that's just fascinating. I don't know, I grew up going to public school, and it was okay. I learned enough, but most of the stuff I learned wasn't applicable to life. Being an adult now, having been an adult now, what school needs to teach you, beyond some kind of trade skill, which would be really useful, is, you don't need to know, algebra is good for problem solving, figuring out problem solving stuff. You don't need to know up to calculus and trig, unless you're going into an engineering field. You know what you need to know is economics, because everybody's going to handle money eventually. Just basic economics. How to calculate interest. They don't teach you that. Also, basic goal setting. There was not a life skills class that talked about positive mindset, goal setting, having the discipline to accomplish a little bit every day, that kind of stuff. That was sink or swim on that, bud. If you had that skill already, or you had parents that imparted that skill to you, great. But that was it. If school was actually going to be a thing that prepared you for life, literally, if they only taught you economics, how to handle money, economics as pertains to your life, interest, debt, some basic stock market stuff, how savings work, setting a budget, and then some goal setting stuff on having like disciplined bedtimes, morning routines, how to set goals and accomplish them. If that's all school taught you, no math or reading, it would be worthwhile. But even the history they teach you isn't complete history. Like beyond any conspiracy level of knowledge, just the fact that they skim over all of human history with, some underpaid teacher. I don't know, so not all of them are underpaid, but the teachers just they're not giving all of their time and focus and dedication. I mean, so much of my history classes were memorize pointless dates for the Civil War, for the Revolutionary War. I think I learned more history in English class when we went over the Scarlet Letter. As much as I am fully convinced that Mormonism is just rampant heresy, my English teacher in high school was a Mormon, devout Mormon, and he used his English, our English class, he used the curriculum. We're in Alaska too, so it's a different environment than most public schools, but we went through the first 3 chapters of Genesis because, the Scarlet Letter is an important part of American literature, and it doesn't make sense without some biblical context. And he used that as an excuse to make the whole class go through the first 3 chapters of Genesis in the Bible. That was awesome. I learned more history, though, going through the Scarlet Letter, having to learn about Puritan, pre-colonial, early colonial America, than I did in history class. And it's amazing just that so much of, the Revolution, we jump right to the Founding Fathers. Yeah, in 1700s. The late 1700s, almost 1800s, 1770 something, right? Right, so America gets found in like 15s. Oh, no, this is the wrong turn. Sorry, nobody look at me, I'm a moron. Anyway. America had been around for 100, 200 years almost. The Puritans in 1600s, late 1500s, just chilling, doing their Puritan thing before America even begins. We don't cover any of that. They're like, oh yeah, the Pilgrims. And then bam, Founding Fathers. Let's ignore a couple hundred years of history. We'll just skim over it. Yeah, they had funny hats. So anyway, it's not like they were devout Christians facing religious persecution from other Christians. I mean, it wasn't super intense, but it was there. So, I mean, it was intense enough that they were like, 3 months on the ocean where I might die? Doing it. Yeah, we're just gonna ignore it. Skim over it. Yeah, there were a bunch of crazy people that managed to survive on their own in the wilderness for 200 years. So the Founding Fathers could roll up and be like, you know what? I think we need a war. And we'll start a country that we'll be in charge of. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, the Founding Fathers were, I don't know, probably pretty decent guys. Some of them were provably monsters. But, I mean, when you have several, what would be at the time, at the time they're effectively millionaires. When you have a room full of like 35 and 40 millionaires, sit down and hatch a plan to start a new country and go to war with the ruling king, and they're going to be in charge of this new country they start. Yeah, that's called a conspiracy. And these men are great heroes, and we'll put their faces on all of our Babylonian rectangles. It's gonna be awesome, guys. So, anyway, school doesn't teach you squat. That was one of the other things I learned was to not be as intelligent as I am. Because whenever the teacher asked a question, when you know the answer, you raise your hand. So after about the 30th question, where I raise my hand because I know the answer, and the teacher's like, no, I want to ask the dumb kid that everybody knows wasn't paying attention and doesn't know the answer. And that's literally every damn question. Sorry, I'm working on language stuff. It's awesome. Anyway, every single question, they skip over. You're like, oh, you answered too many questions. You're like, really? Because I think I've maybe actually been called on for like 5 in my school career. 5, maybe 10. From kindergarten to high school, maybe 10 questions I actually got to answer. Or got the question answered when I had a question. Rarely did I have a question. The information presented was so simple and mind-numbing. So anyway, after about 5th or 6th grade, I started just drawing pictures and ignoring everything that was going on in class. And then I would just ace the test because I peripherally paid attention while I drew pictures and told jokes with the people next to me in class. And then I wouldn't do the homework and I would get D's. Because D's get degrees, man. And I got stuff to do when I get home. I just got done with 8 hours of school and you want me to sit around for 4 hours reliving 8 hours of borderline misery. Nah, I'm good. But yeah, let's send all our children there and then call it a garden where they can blossom and grow. And you know, I never had to deal with it, but apparently the nationwide statistics for pedophilic encounters are worse or the same as the Catholic Church, which is kind of renowned depending on, you know, how big your city is and how corrupt things are. Not to denigrate the entirety of Catholicism, but that's how they're known. Choir boys is synonymous with victim in Protestant and secular circles. Is that red light? I get to go! So, that's fascinating. Apparently that happens in larger cities where you have the same protection racket amongst teachers and stuff. Out in the country, everything is very different. Because, of course, every system is always only as good as the people running it, right? So if you're in a predominantly Christian environment, which will typically be more rural, it's smaller town, more people know each other, more people are Christian, it's going to be a better experience no matter where you're at. Private school, homeschool, whatever. I'm speaking in broad generalities, obviously. Because individual instances are insufficient sample size. But I'm relating I'm finding where my personal experiences relate to the general understanding of public schools to bring more depth to the conversation, that's all. Anyway, so yeah, I got taught not to stand out and not to answer questions. So I would just sit quietly and listen to everybody give the wrong answer. And it was just so frustrating, it was easier to escape into whatever I was drawing ninjas fighting each other. Because it just wasn't worth the time of putting my hand up to be ignored by some overpaid, underperforming bureaucrat. You tried hard, Mrs. Collins, but it just wasn't, you just didn't do a great job. My mileage. Although the oobleck portion was fun. So I'm coming into work now, bringing it in for a landing. The school is not a kindergarten. That should be grade 0. Because your first grade is actually the second year you spend in school. That whole system is just a foundation of lies and mistruths. So, your home is a kindergarten, is what I'm saying. That needs to be the mindset, is your home needs to be a garden for your children. A place where they can plant deep roots and grow up big and tall and blossom. Face enough hardship that they get stronger, but not so much hardship that they break. All that good stuff. And that's all I got for you today. Don't take my word for it. Godspeed, and I will see you next time.